Welcome in Science and Magic. My name is Amanda Helen. And first of all, I've missed you all. I haven't been streaming as much, but hope to amp that up in the coming weeks a little bit. This video is going to be about our radiant feminine heart. And it's going to be especially helpful if you're someone who has a hard time getting out of your head, getting out of your mind, because I'm going to give some tangible ways to move your energy from your mind and into your heart. I hesitate to say body because the head is a part of the body, but there's something really special and powerful about the heart that holds both science and magic, and we'll talk about that today. So my channel in general likes to explore concepts around the nervous system, around feminine energy, feminine embodiment, around how to work in a more delicious and sustainable way, as well as, how to just be more connected to these beautiful bodies that we live in. If you follow my work, please do give this video a like. If throughout the video you're receiving value from it, give it a like. This really helps to spread my content around YouTube and helps amplify my page and my channel to others who may benefit from this work. So I'm going to start by sharing why connecting with our heart is a powerful way to navigate through our lives. And, really this could be said for masculine or feminine beings, anyone in between. Just the heart is a really sacred way to be in these bodies. And I think that many pre-modern civilizations understood this. And I feel that we've lost that in our current society. Um, in most spaces, right? There's always little nooks and crannies and niches and things like that. But in general, our society is very much in the head. Sacred traditions from, sacred texts from all traditions really point to the heart as being really important. And in fact, I pulled some quotes and some readings to emulate this. This is part of that magic, the mystery, the spirit, the unknown. So I do want to share some of those quotes. The first one I put on my community board. I had recently taken a trip to Colorado with my little one to visit friends and family, and I feel so much heart connection out there. I went to school out there. My mom and my dad met there. The whole reason I'm here is because of Colorado. And there was a quote that I read from Rumi, who's a mystic poet, that says, "Your heart knows the way. Run in that direction. Not walk in that direction, not move in that direction, run in that direction. Your heart knows the way. Run in that direction." That's very specific, and there's a lot of energy there. I also grew up in the Christian faith tradition and found a couple of verses that point to the heart. And I encourage you, if you're come from different religious traditions or spiritual practices, and you know of different texts or quotes or readings around the heart, please do share them. Share them in the comments. If you're tuning in live, share them in the chat. I think the heart seems to be this common denominator across all these different traditions. It's really beautiful. Proverbs 4:23, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. And Jeremiah 29:13, you will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. And there's a reading from the Radiance Sutras that I'll share a little bit later that's a bit longer that I just love so much. Heart is also woven into our language as being something that's really integral to the human experience. So statements like, I love you with all my heart, or I'm heartbroken, or I'm following my heart. If you try to fuse other organs with these statements, it sounds funny. Like, I love you with all my liver. I'm stomach broken, or I'm following my adrenal glands, right? There's really something natural about infusing heart into these statements that are so strong. Like, I'm following my heart. You go through pain or suffering and heartbroken. Like, the heart holds something, and it's really worth exploring. The info that I'll be sharing is a combination from coming from the Heart Math Institute, which is a nonprofit organization that studies the human heart. The field of neurocardiology is what it's called. The heart has its own nervous system, and they have hundreds of peer-reviewed scientific articles and studies that have been done around this emerging field of the heart's nervous system. Some spiritual texts, which I've already shared, and then my own lived experience as a human being who's navigating the world from my own heart. So that's where all this information will come from, and we'll just weave it in. I'll share from my heart. I feel very in my heart right now. I think that's interesting too, that you can be sharing from your head or sharing from your heart. I think you can also share from your gut, share from your womb. There's different ways that you can share, but this sharing, my intention is to be in my heart as much as possible as I share about the heart. So I hope that you can feel that. So first of all, the heart has its own nervous system. Like I said, this is called the field of neurocardiology. What does that mean? We hear the word nervous system all the time. Um, so what makes up our brain are these little cells called neurons. And there's billions of them in the brain and in the spinal cord and throughout the body. And they weave together and communicate with each other in trillions of different ways. So they link up and they send communication or electricity through these pathways. This is what the nervous system is it is designed to sense information, to intake information externally and internally, and then to share or respond to that information appropriately by action, through various ways. It could be like within the body, a release of chemicals, but it's always sensing, it's always responding. So the heart has literally its own cluster of neurons within the heart tissue that responds and operates independently of input from the brain. So let's just sit with that for a second. The heart's nervous system responds to stimuli independent of input from the brain. This is a very different way to think about the body. Like I said, we live in a society where the brain is completely revered, and the brain is amazing. Don't get me wrong. I studied neuroscience in college. I love it. But the heart can receive information independently. So this is saying that the heart can sense. And the Heart Math Institute has found that the heart holds an intelligence, its own intelligence. It's literally called heart intelligence. And this is something that I think is parallel to what we call intuition. And we will talk later about how to access this later on in the video. I think one of the most powerful ways to move through life in a soul essenced way is to connect into the heart versus the brain when making big life decisions. The brain is wired in our childhood, primarily the subconscious from 0 to 7. It holds our conditioning. It holds our conditioning from our family, from society, from any experiences we've had throughout our lives, primarily in those early years. And of course, the brain can rewire, and it's an amazing thing called neuroplasticity. But in general, we are kind of combating, I find, when we try to make decisions only from the brain, our conditioning, what we think we want, what society, what our family has told us we want, versus what our soul actually wants, what our essence wants, what truly our reason for being in these bodies in this time wants. So the antidote to this is to link into the heart, which contains our essence, our intelligence. This is what I found in my own life, in my own body, in my work with my clients, is that the more that we can connect into the heart, and we'll talk about how, the more aligned of a life that will lead. So I know I titled this video, Your Radiant Feminine Heart, but I want to emphasize that both masculine and feminine energy is at its best, at its most robust, at its most potent in the heart, at its most balanced. If you're someone who has more of a feminine essence, you're going to find more feminine energy by connecting into the heart. So things like compassion, openness, surrender, heart love. If you have a more masculine essence, you'll connect more to that robust masculine energy by connecting into the heart. Things like courage, having great integrity, bravery, having a strong sense of purpose and focus that's heart-led. So depending on what your essence is, your natural essence, that will amplify as you connect to the heart. So if you're someone with more of a masculine essence, this video will also pertain to you because the heart is just this unique experience of being human. The chakra system, the energy system in the yogic tradition, the bottom three chakras, there's the root at the very base of the spine, the sacral in the hips, and then the solar plexus from the navel up into the rib cage. And these energy centers represent, I mean, I could do a whole video on just those, but just the chakra system, but they represent earth energies. So the connection into density, into matter, into physical form, the experience of being here in this body as a spirit. Now, the top three are the crown, which is above the head. It's like your halo. You have the space between the eyebrows, the third eye, seat of like inner vision beyond actual sight with the eyeballs, and then the throat chakra, song, expression, bringing voice to your experience. Now, in between, those three are more spirit. They meet in the heart. And literally, being human is an energetic animation, a spirit of these physical bodies. So density, matter. The heart holds both. And in general, the earth, so the trees, the wildlife, the flowers, the ocean, anything that's life is feminine energy, the expression of life in its most harmonic, loving form. And the sky, the cosmos, the space, the infinite container is the masculine. So those top, that top energy of the cosmic energy. And each chakra actually has its own flavor of masculine, feminine, it alternates. But if you think of this meeting of earth energy flowing through the body, just you can feel this if you're tuning in and you're at a place, walking, or you feel like you can feel into your body, feel this earth energy flowing up through the feet, the legs, the abdomen, and into the heart, and that cosmic energy coming from the sky through the head, the neck, and it mixes in the heart. So I just want to emulate this because we hear a lot that feminine energy lives in the heart, and it does. And so does masculine energy. That courage, that integrity, that standing proud and strong from a heart space. It's like that stable heart energy. So it can be really powerful to get out of our heads. So this is the conditioning, the repetitive ruminating thought patterns, and into the heart when speaking, when having important conversations, when making big life decisions, when doing your work, really when doing anything. Sometimes I connect into my heart and I just play around with walking out public and what that does for me. But for those of you who have a hard time getting out of your head, or I hear a lot, I can't stop my thoughts. Your brain's going to think. your mind is going to think. It's just the way that it is. And to resist that will just amplify that feeling. The antidote is to pull your consciousness. So part of what makes us uniquely human is that we have the ability to separate our experience and watch ourselves have an experience. So consciousness is this infusion of focus in a body part. So rather than become one with what you're thinking, you pull your consciousness, you just let your mind think. You can see it as like its own organ thing. It's just doing its thing. And then you pull your consciousness into your heart, your focus into your heart, and you reside there. And that can be a really powerful way to move through this experience. And if you have a feminine essence, it is just going to amplify your femininity by doing that. Hi, Zoe. Hi, Amber. Welcome in. Feel free to ask questions as I go through this. I love talking about the heart. In fact, my program, Nervous System of a Goddess, I have level 1 is soften, and it goes all throughout, the nervous system, the different branches of the nervous system, how to actually soften the body and feel safe and get out of survival mode. And the level 2 is called glow. And there's a whole module on just the heart, just connecting into the heart in that, because it literally makes you glow. And I'm going to get into why. Ooh, Rima, the Alignment Academy with Rima. Hi, love. Thanks for tuning in. So the heart helps us connect to others. And this can also be referred to as interdependence. So you're independent, you're your own entity, but you have relationship with others. Feminine energy is very relational. It's about connecting into the whole and evoking these beautiful exchanges between different life forms. There's so much I could get into here. Okay. The HeartMath Institute studies something called heart rate variability. And in my work with my clients, I have a whole lesson on this that's recorded and a workbook and things like that. But in general, if you connect into the heart in these ways that I'll share in a minute, then it evokes a state of natural balance in the body. And this is called coherence. Like literally the heart in coherence will send signals up into the nervous system, into the brain, that are coherent and will evoke a state of balance between the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. So this is what I'm saying when I refer to coherence. It is a state of flow and ease in the body. Now, what's amazing about this? The HeartMath Institute did a study where they separated the participants into groups of 4 around card tables. And 3 of the 4 knew how to move their body into a state of coherence, how to connect into their heart, how to breathe into their heart. And the 4th person in every group did not know what was going on. They were just playing cards. And you can measure coherence in your system. Like you can actually, I used to have a little device and you plug it to your ear and you can measure if your body's in a state of coherence or not. So they were measuring this. And in every single case, on every table, the 3 people, just by being in coherence, shifted the 4th person into a state of coherence. Can we just soak that in for a second? The 3 people who were consciously evoking coherence in their body, connecting to their heart, shifted the 4th person into a state of coherence. By proxy, this 4th person was receiving benefits just from being around these people. No words, no activities, no meditations, no yoga, just by being next to others who are in a state of coherence. Now think of what this means as you, as a feminine being, are walking out into the world in your heart. You, by being in coherence and love and harmony, are naturally influencing the nervous system balance of others. So take that with you on your date. with a potential partner or with your current partner. Take that with you into a hard conversation with your family. Take that with you when you walk into the grocery store. If it feels good to be around you, like how delicious is that? Wow, love that. Amber says, so our own coherence transfers to others 100%. And I often find that there's this fear from people that, oh, I don't want to go into that space because I absorb everyone's energy. Like I'm too empathic. Like I can't be around them, any toxic people. And I think there can be such a judgment in this, right? It's like I think that, well, I'm going to go on a tangent here, but if we see toxicity in someone else, it's really just a reflection. It's triggering what's within us. That's my feeling about that. But I won't get too much into that. Maybe that's another video. If you choose coherence, if you choose your heart, and if you are conscious in your body, and there's an auric field around our bodies, I'm going to get into that next, then you decide how you are in your body versus being succumbing to, all this energy around you. You can actually, what's that saying? Love always wins. Be in a state of love and bring that refreshing presence, because feminine energy is refreshing and rejuvenating, into any space you come into in a deeply compassionate way, in a courageously compassionate way. I really think this is like the heart of feminine energy. You're refreshing the spaces that you're in. And I feel very much in my heart right now. Of course, I will probably go in and out like as I'm looking, but in a way that those of you who kind of are tapped into this energy might feel that from me as well. And I might start sensing into your hearts. And I've experimented with this digitally too, because I do, I offer meditations digitally for clients and sometimes groups, sometimes solo. I've done live sessions here. And, ever since COVID and everything kind of came online, I feel connected when I'm connected into my heart and sharing. I can't see all of you, but I can feel something in the heart because the heart is connected into an energy field of others. And sometimes, at the end of like a yoga practice, there's always that dedication to peace, love, and harmony for the whole. And when I share that, I'm like, the brain is going to say, what the heck? Like, I I can really wish well-being for the entire world. Like that's a huge wish. That's huge. And the brain can have all sorts of things to say to that. Like, how is that possible? There's no way that this practice could contribute to that. But the heart, if you connect into the heart knows. And so bringing the consciousness into the heart and feeling that wish, it's like a native feeling in the heart. The heart holds the secrets to harmony, to love, to peace. And this is a very feminine way of being, very feminine. So what else do I want to say about that? The heart's magnetic field. So we have a magnetic field around the body, and it can be measured by various equipment. This is also could be called the aura. Our presence literally extends off of our skin. That's why some of us can feel that in others, But the heart's magnetic field extends at an amplitude 60 times of that of the brain. So the heart extends far. And this makes sense because the magnetic field comes from electricity. So the heart, because it's beating, it's electric. So it produces this huge field around the body. And the head has a field too, because the brain is electric with all the firing of the neural pathways and things like this. But the heart's is big. And there's something about the heart knowing and sensing and connecting into this grid that links us all. This is really where science meets magic for me. When I was in my craniosacral training, biodynamic craniosacral, in Boulder, Colorado, we really contemplated this idea that what's growing the body, like, when I was pregnant with my little one, the heart just formed and started beating. And every week, a different development would happen, but I wasn't consciously like, okay, grow, okay, grow. It just happened. And so part of this training was resting into this field that links all life forms, that connects through this grid, and then letting that grid evoke a healing space between my client or who I was working with and myself. And then it was just about resting and allowing in that field. Resting and allowing. Is that feminine? Yes. Yes, you rest and allow, and you let that field penetrate your body. And then it moves your system into a state of coherence. You're receiving it, and then you're giving it. You're offering it. So by connecting into the heart's really extending out into this magnetic field. And there's all sorts of information there. This is where you'll start to get intuition. And to be intuitive is very feminine as well. I'll say that, we talked a bit about how masculine energy lives in the mind. That's true, but if it's imbalanced, it's only in the mind. This like really imbalanced masculine energy is super heady, but a head that's connected to the heart is more of this balanced relationship. And this feminine energy is heart connected into body, into soles of the feet, into root chakra, into womb, this like dark, deep, like bottom of the ocean, fertile place. So we want to connect from that headspace into the heart, and then let the heart sense into the grid all around, receiving information and trusting that information. Are there any questions popping up before I get into some ways in which you can connect into your heart? I want to share this quote before I do this. It's from this book, the Radiance Sutras, which I love. It's 112 gateways to the yoga of wonder and delight. So this is the Sutra 26. Enter the bowl of vastness that is the heart. Listen to the song that is always resonating. Give yourself to it with total abandon. Quiet ecstasy is here, and a steady, regal sense of resting in a perfect spot. You, who are the embodiment of blessing, once you know the way, the nature of attention will call you to return. Again and again, answer that call and be saturated with knowing. I belong here. I am at home. I belong here. I am at home. I love that reading so much. And I will say that it's not always warm and fuzzy to be in the heart. Like their heartbreak is a thing. I've worked with clients who feel like they have this like sticky tar around their heart, and we work with that, or they feel that their heart brings them so much pain because it's holding the pain of the world. But the point is that the heart has its own intelligence, and to be there is a very powerful thing. Amber, I love this, Amanda. I'm so glad you share this with us. It's not every day we get on this level in conversation with others. Yeah, I'm getting pretty trippy, aren't I? But that's that science and magic combination. It's like this stuff is studied. We have a physical organ called the heart. It beats. We can measure the magnetic field. And yet we have all these scriptures, all these texts from these deep traditions that are pointing to the heart as something eternal, something really sacred. So I'm just kind of putting all these pieces together, and then my lived experience of being in my heart, it's very powerful. Any thoughts on front versus back versus sides of the heart? I fall into the sensations, but was semi-curious, or feel into the sensations, maybe. That's a great question, Rima. Hi, Nakiva. You caught a live. Yay, welcome. I'm so glad. Be sure you all hit the bell if you want to catch me live. I do schedule, but my life's My life's on flow with my little one. So whenever I go live, you'll get notified if you hit the bell, and then hopefully you can catch me. So this is a great point. I love that you asked this because when we think of the heart, we often think of the front of the heart, just the front. Like what happens when you think of the heart? I know for me, I typically go front. But if we can start to think of the heart as three-dimensional, front of the heart, space behind the heart, in between the shoulder blades, and the sides. So I like to imagine this balloon inside of my chest cavity. And the balloon expands in all directions out as the inhale, and the exhale, it contracts back. So feeling the heart as this three-dimensional space can be a really filling, nourishing experience. And as far as like distinguishing, I don't have many thoughts on that. I think that's per person, right? Like I've heard that we receive from the back and we give from the front, and that feels like it makes sense in my body. I know that resting back in my heart can feel really expansive and powerful. But I think it just depends on you and your unique experience and what comes up when you rest in these different places of your heart. And when you feel into the back of your heart, I think it's interesting. A lot of people have tension in that space between the shoulder blades. Like, I've heard the metaphor of that's your wings. Those are your wings wanting to come out, which I think is a really beautiful description of that feeling. Like there's something that wants to grow, like your fairy wings or your butterfly wings from the back of your heart. That does a lot for my psyche, that symbolism. So I'm curious if you've noticed anything, Rima, as you kind of feel into the sensations and what that does for you. So I want to share 3 techniques from the Heart Math Institute on how to put your body into a state of coherence. And if you're just tuning in now, welcome in. Hi. I spoke a lot in the beginning of this about why the heart is powerful and how it connects us into our femininity through intelligence, through intuition, through magnetism and glow, through compassion and interconnectedness. And now we're going to be talking about how to link into our hearts. Actually, like, what does that mean? Like, what does it mean to connect into the heart? And, if you want to share what that means for you and how you connect into your heart, I would love to hear that. Share in the comments, in the chat. But we'll start with the Heart Math Institute coherence techniques. And these have been studied. So the device is put, the tracker, the heart rate variability tracker is put on the body. And when participants do these 3 things, it moves the body into a state of coherence. And I've done this too. The first, you drop your attention into your heart. So that consciousness that we spoke about in the beginning, that ability to observe your experience, you literally just feel that your heart is there. And this is a skill that can be fine-tuned with time, but you could put a hand on your heart if that feels like it helps you. You could just literally place your hands on your heart and close your eyes. You could place your hands on the side of your heart. You could rest something on the back of your heart, but literally just feel your heart. That moves you into a state of coherence. It's wild. If you just drop your consciousness there, my consciousness is in my heart right now as I'm talking. Like I can feel that. What's amazing about this is you can be in a state of activation, you can be in a state of stress, you can be working, you can be having a hard conversation, and you can do it from your heart. So you can be activated and stressed, but in your heart and thus coherent. So it really helps to create resilience too. The second is to breathe into your heart. So have that imagery of the balloon expanding and contracting with every inhale, every exhale. And you elongate your breath about 6-second inhales, 6-second exhales, as if the heart had its own mouth and nose, is the cue from the Heart Math Institute. So your breath can independently take in, your heart can independently take in breath without having it come from your nose or your mouth, from your head. That's the second cue. That will move you into a state of coherence. And the third is to envision something that you feel extremely grateful for, that you feel appreciation for naturally. And for me lately, that's been my baby. Just envisioning him envisioning him smiling at me, laughing, the twinkle in his eye, envisioning cuddling with him. That just puts me into a state of great coherence. Like it's so easy for me to appreciate. Often this can be pets. If you're having a really hard day, it can be hard to access appreciation. And in that case, you could just rest your attention in your heart, breathe into your heart. That's enough. Or you could say, you know what? I'm having a really hard day, but I am grateful that I have a bed to sleep on at night and this cozy container of my room. Something really simple. But you want to evoke this genuine state of appreciation and you want to resonate in that. You want to sit in that, breathe it in, feel appreciation. And this will shift the way your heart is beating. So your heart will beat more coherently. It will send a signal up to your brain and will evoke more of a state of balance in your nervous system, more coherence. And then we can affect others, not only our own biology, but we can have that effect on others by being more in a state of coherence. I think this is so important too, because this is what's coming through right now. Like we can say, oh, I wish love and peace onto others from the head. But like there might be this pull or this rub, this like, like, oh, I'm better than them. Like I'm offering this peace. I'm doing them a favor right now, right? If it's from the head. But when it's in the heart, when it's you're evoking that state in yourself, and then it just ripples into the world naturally. It doesn't have this state of I'm doing anyone else a favor. I'm being this myself. And in being this and embodying it, which is feminine, it travels to others by proxy. Me changing my state of being shifts the world around me. It's a different energy. Rima, lately it's been feeling great resting in the back of my heart. Yeah, exactly. Like just doing that now, I can feel like resting in the back as a support to the front feels like really supportive to opening the front of my heart. The moth wing. Yeah, so feeling like a wing in the back is what you're saying. Moth, though, that's interesting. Samri, hi. Would connecting with my heart help with anxiety? Yeah, I think so. I mean, everybody is different, right? But okay, here's the thing. As I find that connecting into the chest, different energy can confront you with your anxiety because typically with anxiety, the chest feels really constricted. So being with that constriction in the chest, that tightness, and the amplified heartbeat can be more nerve-wracking if you don't have resource. But if you connect into heart, and this is where there's this nuance, it's an energy center, right? So if you connect to the feeling of this energy, so I'm thinking of the quantum field right now. So matter at its core form is 99.999% space. Atoms are. Like it's mostly space. So if in some way you can connect into this area of the body and feel into the spaciousness of it, rather than focus your attention on the tightness, the amplified heartbeat, the constriction, it will 100% help with anxiety. Well, I can't guarantee anything. Like I said, every body is different, but I really think that anxiety being caused by the brain, by the base of the brain, by fear, by the nervous system, and the heart can hold this expansion of energy, this connecting into the field. I really think that it could help with anxiety. You know, I'm going to share, I have an album called Neurosound, and track 3 is heart coherence. It's free. So you can, I'm also on Insight Timer if you all have that. But I'm going to put that in the chat. So if you want to connect to your heart and move into a state of coherence, this track is really going to help you do that. And then I'm going to put my my course, Nervous System of a Goddess Glow. I won't put it in the chat because I don't want to take time to look at the link right now, but I'll put it in the description as well as in the comments. So if you're interested in diving a bit more into what the heart is, I have heart yoga practices. So I have a yin practice, a flow practice, I have meditation, I have heart reflection, I have more information on the heart in that course. And I do suggest taking level 1, soften, and level 2 before you take level 2, glow, And I have a bundle that you can buy both of them together. But if, of course, if you just want to take glow and move into the heart, you're welcome to do that too. But if you're feeling this pull, it's really powerful. And if you want to work with me one-on-one, you could do an introductory session of three sessions. That's in the description. And we can work with the heart too. It's so powerful. So the other aspect of this I want to talk about is sensing versus thinking. So this is something we worked on in my craniosacral training as well, that when it's a different way of being. So I'm going to try to find the words to describe this to you. We can think our way into something. We can analyze. We can, if I'm working with a client, I can be in my head and think like, okay, I'm thinking in terms of body work right now. So if I'm working with a client on the table and they're like, why is my quadricep hurting? To think, to logic would be, well, you have tightness in your foot that's traveling up your leg and how you're standing and into your quadricep. But I'm very much in my brain when I think that. To sense would be to rest in my heart and actually remind myself that I don't know anything. Like we really don't know anything. That's the mystery of life. That's the magic of life. So I sit in my heart and I put my hand on the quadricep, on the thigh, and I just sense. I just see what happens. And when I do this, and this is a skill set to get attuned to, information might come to me like, oh, move up to the shoulder. Or I might get a flash of a color or a memory. It's like it doesn't quite make sense. Sensing. That's funny. But to sense is to just allow information to come in without penetrating out, thinking about it. So again, feminine, sensing, being in your senses, in the sense of your heart, resting back and allowing information to come, receiving information. And when you receive it, you respond. That's feminine. To think is to penetrate into the environment and try to figure out. That's more masculine. So when we're thinking about being in the heart, connecting into the heart, how can we sense when I'm working with my clients and they're sharing something with me on a session, sensing, just sensing what's coming in without having this anxiety of needing to know something or needing to answer. There's no right or wrong. It's all just prismatic spectrums, like non-linear. That's all very feminine, timeless. And that timelessness lives in the heart. And we all know this, you guys. We know this. Like deep down, our bodies know. But we've lost the skill set in many, many cases. So another thing that we can do are heart-centered meditations and yoga. We can really spend time nurturing relationship with the heart. And I just shared a meditation with you that will help. You can connect to your heart with movement. Like I said, I have 2 classes, they're 20 minutes each, to just link into the heart. And you can totally do a yoga practice and just be in your head the whole time and just check it off the list and be like, okay, I did my yoga practice and it feels good. It feels good to stretch. It feels good to breathe. It feels good to rest. Or you can be in these postures and these practices and have your consciousness in your heart and build a relationship in that way. The more that we pay attention or reside somewhere, the more that energy will amplify naturally, the more that we can be heart-led. Another thing that you can do is right away in the morning, if you want to lead more of a heart-centered life, is you just place your hands on your heart. You close your eyes and you take 3 breaths. So you move in a state of coherence right away. And then you give the heart permission to guide your life. You just say, head, you can just take a back seat. You don't have to go away. You're not evil, like you're not bad. But heart, be in the driver's seat, and the head can be the passenger, the co-pilot. And you just give permission for that to happen. So that's another thing that I like to do. Are there any questions? There's questions or thoughts, or you all want to share any quotes or any reflections on the heart? We'll move into a little bit of a Q&A if you have that. Otherwise, I'm finished sharing content at this point. I hope that this was helpful for you. It was really nourishing. I feel nourished talking about the heart. Like I feel so calm in my body after talking about the heart. That's the beauty of the heart. And over again, I have to remind myself, like, okay, Amanda, come into your heart. Like your heart knows, like your head might start freaking out, but the heart really does have this intelligence, has this way of connecting into this greater picture of life. There's nothing else. Probably let you all go. If you want me to speak about anything, feel free to send me an email if you're interested in any sort of topics or leave it, in the comments. I'll probably do a poll to see what you all want to hear from me. I can speak about anything regarding to human design, being a human design projector, nervous system, heart, feminine energy, working in a more sustainable way, stress, embodiment, like often, me being a human design projector, when you all have an idea for me, that's me being invited in to share my thoughts on it. So I really enjoy questions and I really enjoy your ideas as well. It, Rima, it just feels so supportive knowing that it has its own intelligence system. Yes. And that's a trust, right? It's like I'm going to be in my heart. And if something doesn't make sense and my heart feels alive and warm and gooey and like it's tingling, I have to trust that. It's like a different operating system to be in the world. And if you're more of a feminine being, resting in your heart is going to amplify your feminine energy. It's going to amplify your ability to surrender, your ability to be soft, your ability to be compassionate, all those things. It's really powerful. So my heart wishes well to all of your hearts. Like truly, thank you so much for tuning in, for letting me share these ideas, for participating, for just being here, for connecting to your own hearts. And I am so grateful for all of you, like truly. And I will see you in the next one.